Hey guys, it is finally here. We finally got our hands on it. This is the Samsung Galaxy Fold, which is the first commercially available foldable phone from Samsung. And let me just tell you up front, it's pretty amazing. When you've got it closed, you've got this relatively small display on the front, but when you open it up, it becomes this enormous display, which is almost pretty much the size of a tablet. It's very squared off. You've got a Snapdragon 855 processor in here, 12 gigabytes of RAM, and 512 gigabytes of storage, which is one of the most highest spec phones that we've seen so far. And you can almost think of it kind of like a laptop in a way, because if you could connect a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse to this, that would be pretty insane. Now, the concept of this device is that you're gonna be able to have this relatively thin and tall phone in your pocket when you're making calls, when you're doing other things. But if you want to have that big display for like media consumption, or maybe like watching YouTube or something like that, you can open it up and it just becomes this enormous display. And yes, there is a visible crease down the center, but honestly, if you're looking at it spot on, you really don't notice it. You only notice it if you're looking from the side or if it's the daytime and there's glare. Now, Samsung's designed this special hinge mechanism that makes this work, so it actually folds open instead of closed like the Huawei Mate X. And it's supposed to be rated for an insane number of closes, and there's this really, really nice audible when you close it and when you open it as well. Now, Samsung wanted to make sure that you could use this phone from pretty much any orientation. So there's a selfie camera on the front, there are 3 cameras on the back, pretty much the same array as the Samsung Galaxy S10. And if you open up the phone, you've got more cameras inside of the phone. So you've got a total of 6 cameras on this phone, which is pretty insane for a device. We haven't really seen that before, but Samsung wants to make sure that you're able to shoot pictures in pretty much any orientation. And shooting when the phone is open is actually a pretty good experience. You're able to see this enormous frame while you're taking the photo, and it doesn't look quite as bad as someone that's holding up an iPad to take a picture. Now, another really nice aspect of the ability to be able to open this phone into this giant display is gaming. We played some Asphalt on this phone, and it's just insane how nice of an experience it is to be able to play on that immersive giant display. A big reason that people buy tablets in the first place is to have a more immersive media experience, and if you can have that in your phone, that's kind of a double whammy. Now, something special that Samsung worked specifically with Google on here is something called app continuity, and it's something that's going to be available in pretty much every foldable device here on out. Now, if you have something open on the main display on the front and then you open the phone up, you'll be able to see that same app in a huge full screen mode. So for example, if you opened up Google Maps on the small display in the front, or even a YouTube video, and then you opened up the phone, you unfolded it, it would become an immersive giant experience that you'd be able to use on the big display. Now, this phone is a lot more narrow and taller than most phones that you're gonna be using nowadays, but I actually kind of like it. It's kind of like a candy bar style, like you would have used on an old LG chocolate or something like that. Although it is quite a bit thicker. If you look at it from the bottom, it's pretty much 2 phones slapped together. So if you don't have thick pockets, then you might need to find somewhere else to store this. The screen is made of a plastic material currently, which is not the most ideal situation, but right now you can't really bend glass to be able to put in the phone, so it's kind of a necessary evil. On the side of the phone, you've got volume rockers, a power button, and a side-mounted fingerprint reader, which is really interesting for Samsung, but this also doubles as a Bixby button instead of putting the Bixby button on the other side like we've traditionally seen on the Galaxy S10. On the top and bottom, you've got these big speakers, and when you're using this phone in the immersive tablet mode, they actually get really loud. The media experience here was really, really nice, and we were playing YouTube videos or playing things like Asphalt. It was a really loud experience. Now, currently it's running Android 9 Pie at launch, but we're assuming this will be upgraded to Android Q because Android Q actually has native integration for foldable devices, which should probably make this work a little bit better with every app that's not specifically tailored by Google or Samsung. Now, with such a big display, you might be a little bit worried about battery life, but it does have a pretty big 4,380 milliamp hour cell, or should I say 2 cells, because this is effectively 2 phones slapped together that share a similar screen, so there's 2 big batteries in here. Now, we don't know exactly how long that battery will last quite yet, but we will be sure to let you know in our full review coming very soon. So that's about it for the Samsung Galaxy Fold so far. We're going to have a ton more content on this when we get a device, and we're just gonna be using it and putting it through its paces over time. Let us know what you think, ask us your questions. We'll be sure to answer them in the comment section below, and head over to the website where we've got a full gallery with a ton of images and a lot more product information. And until the next video, I will catch you later. All right, guys, so I had just left my briefing and then boom, all of a sudden there's a complete media blitz on Twitter about the Samsung Galaxy Fold. So effectively, if you've been on Twitter, if you've seen the articles, there's a few kind of weird things happening with this phone right now. One is that they have this special adhesive coating that goes over the screen that is part of the screen, and people were peeling them off, and the phone basically won't work if you peel them off. And Samsung does have a couple messages that say please don't peel this off, and apparently in the retail packaging it also has some more direct messaging that says please do not peel this off because the phone will not work. But in the review units that we were given, apparently they did not say don't peel it off, and so a few people did, and these screens ceased to work. So I feel like that's a kind of a messaging issue from Samsung. They really needed to be a little more direct and clear about that. So that's problem one. The second problem is a problem that's not really fixable. It's some people's displays are just breaking. Dieter over at The Verge, his phone started bulging, and then he thinks that maybe something got inside of it, but it basically broke the display and it caused this line in the OLEDs, and that's just not good, and so it's pretty much completely broken. They're sending him in a replacement. And then someone else's screen just also stopped working. It just had this line going down the center, and then the entire left side of the display just started flashing white, and it's totally broken. So that's a little bit concerning. Now, two phones, I don't know if I would say that this phone is completely unusable at this point, but it is a little bit concerning, especially since there weren't that many people that actually got these devices. So I would be on the lookout. We're gonna have a lot more information about this as the story unfolds. We're still waiting from a note from Samsung, so stay tuned for that in the near future. All right, guys, so in a shocking turn of events, I just got back to my office, and now Samsung actually did issue a statement regarding these issues. So I'm gonna read it to you real quick. It says, a limited number of early Galaxy Fold samples were provided for media to review. We have received a few reports regarding the main display of the samples provided. We will thoroughly inspect these units in person to determine the cause of the matter. So I'll let you interpret that as you will, but it seems like Samsung is going to be checking these units themselves. They also said, separately, a few reporters reported having removed the top layer of the display, causing damage to the screen. The main display of the Galaxy Fold features a top protective layer, which is part of the display structure designed to protect the screen from unintended scratches. Removing the protective layer or adding adhesives to the main display may cause damage. We will ensure the information is clearly delivered to our customers. So I'm assuming maybe that's meaning they're going to be adding it into their packaging or something. I think they probably already sent it out to like people like T-Mobile, but they're saying that they're going to make sure that they tell the customers that, so we'll just have to wait and see. But that is the latest information. I think the video will probably be up in like 20 minutes from me recording this. So I hope you enjoyed the hands-on video, and I'll catch you in the next one.